Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Tuesday the 7th of September. So we start looking at the data release first. In fact, it's just run through this week then. So we've got the Reserve Bank of Australia's rate statement, which I'll come on to in just a second, and that's it for the morning. We've got an MPC speaker at 8:30 this morning, which could shake the pound up a little bit. And then later on, we've got the European economic sentiment there, the ZEW economic sentiment. That isn't a big mover normally, but I say normally, sometimes you may get a bit of movement from it, but really it's all in this morning. We've got the US market stream to come back on to play through this afternoon, so we should get some volume through today. Okay, start off looking at the Australian dollar today. We're doing a bit of a change, only because the data came out at 5:30 this morning. Basically, they've maintained everything as was aside of the their tapering plans. They're maintaining but extending them. Apparently, so it sort of it looks like they're trying to do something to say, well, we're okay, but they're not really okay. Anyway, so this is where we're sitting at the moment. Not a lot of change in reality, and in terms of the price action this morning, well, yesterday was stalled somewhat, consolidated whilst waiting for the news. The news is out. It's at the moment a big bearish engulfing 4-hourly bar, looks quite weak. Outside bar, if we start seeing a further breakdown this morning come the London session, maybe it could be a go with, but the US dollar itself is relatively weakish, and we've seen across the different markets. So it's a tougher one. It just could be a bit more consolidation for the Aussie dollar, but in the bigger picture at the moment, it's looking weak. Okay, let's go through looking at the euro dollar then. So the euro dollar, not too dissimilar picture to the Aussie actually yesterday. Consolidation buy yesterday inside. We were not quite inside, but I did drop a little bit lower. We caught the weekly pivot, didn't get the bounce I was looking for. In fact, I'll come back out this a little bit further. I was looking for a break earlier on through the 34, just didn't happen. It happened through the Asian session there. At the moment though, well, it's bounced and pulling back, so looking a tad on the softer side. I don't know, this it's a hard read at the moment in terms of where this is going. Personally, I'm just sort of looking. A break of the weekly pivot would, for me, signify for possible further downside, maybe towards that 50, the trend line that I've got sitting along the lows there. If it can consolidate where it's sitting at the moment and start pushing upwards, well, we could see another high. I don't know. It's just got that tad of weakness in there at the moment. That's where it sits. It's not clear. The pound's not too dissimilar in the picture. It's just come out to the dailies here. Certainly sold off yesterday, but another pretty much an inside bar there. We're doing the same again today. We had a little rally through the Asian session there into midnight. The midnight hour through to 4 o'clock in the morning. Then 4 o'clock we've seen it selling off here, and well, again, a break of the lows here would suggest a lower high, a bit more a sell-off, but we're seeing this sort of bounce at the moment. It could be a short-term bounce with both of them. It's the bounce. It's almost double bottoming. It could see us pushing up to the prior highs there, etc. It's not massively clear. I'm just sort of looking at it. The bigger picture is still higher lows, higher highs through there, and at the moment there's this sort of weakish pattern that we're seeing on the intermediate time frames. The yen, well, just continues to consolidate here. Nothing much more to be said on that. Aussie dollar, where we've covered the Aussie. Canadian dollar catching a bounce at the moment. Let's just run through here. It's just pushing back up. We've got the Bank of Canada coming out. Is it tomorrow or the day after? I believe it's tomorrow. in the afternoon there. So it's pushing up. It's back into its weekly pivot here. Similar picture all the way through on these. We've got okay, an inverted version of the euro and the pound effectively at the moment, and it really just depends on how it copes this morning. A breakthrough of the highs here would suggest that, well, there's a bit more dollar strength coming back in. A sell-off this morning earlier, well, I'd be looking for a continuation, but lacking in clarity. New Zealand dollars followed the Aussie. Similar, very similar picture. Did just suspect it might do. If it did, and it did, and it's nearly back to its weekly pivot. Lower high definitely confirmed in this price action that we're going to see at the moment. Definite lower high. In fact, if anything, it was softened a bit more. It was running at a reasonable pace yesterday, but sold off on the news there. So dollar strength coming through. Now that dollar strength that's come through across a lot of these markets, maybe it's just that sort of move for the Aussie, and we'll get something a little bit more significant coming through. And as I say, things would change here. The Aussie, the euro, isn't as soft as the others. It's looking a little bit stronger. The pound was a little bit softer when I was looking at it here. New Zealand dollar's already gone through, so the commodity currencies handing over the money. The European currencies holding up that a little bit better, with the euro being the strongest in summary. Okay, got that out. Gold didn't like it either, is the answer. Gold's followed the New Zealand route of confirming a lower high. Soft old day yesterday in the end. Didn't really push too far. Lower high confirmed here. It's an easier one to read at the moment. In the big picture, we've still got the higher highs, higher lows, but in this short-term picture, as I say, just signs of weakness. We could get a bit more follow through on that. Oil yesterday was seeing a bit of a bounce when I left it, but sold back down a little bit. Catching a bit more of a bid again at the moment. I'm looking at this to get on the short side on the break of the monthly pivot. It's been sitting pretty much around its weekly pivot yesterday, and that's all as far as it wants to sort of stick. Very messy it's becoming here on this 4 hourly. It's not a clear picture at all, but well, a break of that sort of just looking on here, that break of 69.51 would confirm a higher low, and well, maybe give us further upside. But I'm looking for this afternoon. Maybe see if we can get a breakdown here. I'm still, as I say, I'm looking for a swing short on the break of that monthly pivot, somewhere around the $68. Right, okay, that's that. Let's have a look at the let's go over here, have a look at what we've got. I'm going to look at cryptos first. So the cryptos yesterday pushing up again on Bitcoin. It's sort of making new highs, that are new near-term highs, of course, pushing back towards the maybe the 60,000 at some stage, but looking quite solid with it. Ethereum continuing this consolidation, and consolidation around the high as well. At some stage we may get the breakout again, but at the moment just consolidating around these highs. Ripple doing well yesterday, broke right away, managed to break out. It's the first time it's broken out there, but giving quite a bit of it back so far this morning. But I think it just, depending on how strong this dollar appears this morning, will show what chances we have against a lot of these markets, and the crypto included. Okay, let's have a look at the indices if you can. Just go through these pretty quickly. So overnight then, through the Asian session, we've seen the Hong Kong market pushing up quite bold, solid. The London market just opening, and we're seeing this coming through here. 7th of September we are just selling off to start play at the moment. It's coming off, but yesterday pushing up, breaking the last week's highs there, and looking like it's got potential. The DAX was doing a similar game yesterday. It managed to get a really decent up day yesterday, and is looking a bit more positive, and it's positive at the moment. The French market, the CAC, looking at the futures here again, more solid day, but I drew this trend line across the lows here. I mean, at some stage, if these markets do start falling, well, for me, the weakest of the European markets is the CAC, and it could be the one to be looking at for the short side. But at the moment, well, leaving well alone. S&Ps, well, I saw them push up yesterday pretty close to making a new high, and they did make a new high, ended up down slightly, but no surprises there, eh? Nasdaq, again, more new highs, and the FTSE, the Dow Jones, not quite really doing it. It's just in this consolidation phase. I still think that at some sort of point this is going to take a flyer to the upside, but at the moment just the consolidation continues on the dailies there. Okay, that's pretty much it for me. Nothing else to report. I've gone through those markets. That's it. Yep. I wish you a great day's trading, and I'll catch you in the morning. Bye for now. Oh, sorry. Will the Aussie go further down when the London opens? I think it's probably been. I mean, the London is open effectively from early on. So I mean, there is no opening at like 8 o'clock, but we do see a bit more volume coming through from that time. But the Forex market's always open, so I think that's probably done its most of its move in reaction to what's happened. It's really what the markets are doing, whether we get some dollar strength now or if the dollar continues being a bit weaker. If we get it's more of a bigger picture at this stage. I think it's null news effectively what's come out within for the Aussie, so it's sort of spiked one way, then went the other way. It's quite neutral. They've done at least they can do, so I wouldn't be looking to sell it specifically. It's been holding up pretty well overall. Commodity currencies, and if we see the dollar being sold, commodity currencies and the Aussie dollar regardless might gain some. So I would leave and just wait until it shows a specific setup for yourself. Right, that's it. Have a great day. Bye for now. Job done there.